Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 224. Hey, folks, I really appreciate hearing from so many of you that you're out there doing well, and you're shaking off a little bit of that winter snow, and you're getting ready to get out and shoot this spring. It's going to be a great year for it. And I appreciate all the excellent emails and all the really kind regards. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for communicating. I appreciate it. It's a great little community we have, and I'm grateful for it. So thanks. Also want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera, bedfords.com. You know, this pandemic, one thing that's hit hard is the supply train. Hey, everybody's got it. Some things aren't getting made. Some things that are important, the little pieces that make the big pieces. And somehow, through all that, Bedford still has the inventory, still gets the product to me, even things like, hey, I needed a front and rear body cap for a Z body. They got them. So head to bedfords.com, use that special discount code MOOSE, get great advice, get great product, get great service, get it now, save some money, make some new friends. Bedfords.com. Thanks for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. Let's get right into this week's topic, which comes from a handful of emails I've received since New Year's, and I'm kind of just lumping them all together, calling it, PhotoBiz 21. In other words, how are you going to do business this year, 2021, your photography business, keep things moving forward? I got that question from a lot of folks. Some that are just starting out, some who want to start out, some who've been in it for a long time, and some who got hit hard in 2020. And I hate hearing that, but it's like any business, right? If you don't, work for today and prepare for tomorrow, it's hard to move that ball forward. So griping about, first of all, what didn't transpire in 2020 will only make you bitter. It will make it hard for you to move that ball forward if you are constantly moaning and bemoaning and regretting what didn't happen in 2020, especially when you talk to clients. I only know this because I talked to one client who said they talked to a photographer and the photographer was really bitter. And they didn't want to hire them, and they didn't, because the photographer was so bitter about 2020. I mean, the reality is that's water under the bridge. You have to come to your job, every job, no matter what, with that, hey, I'm here to provide you the best possible service. Let's make things happen kind of attitude. What's happened has happened, whatever it is. That includes if you are flying to a location to shoot and you have damaged or lost photo gear that doesn't show up the day you start shooting. You're a professional. You pick up the ball and you keep moving forward. You don't say, make excuses and anything else. You just get the job done. So that's kind of what I've done for 40 years. Yes, I've made some of these mistakes myself, especially way back when. So I'm telling you firsthand, don't do them. Now, let's start off if you are just trying to get into the photo biz, what you do for 2021. Believe it or not, I'm going to have the same advice for you as the person who's been in business for a little while, a year or two. And believe it or not, it's going to be the same advice I'm going to give someone who's been doing it for decades, like myself. It's the same advice I've been giving photographers from the very beginning. Get into the editorial marketplace. Seriously. Magazines for a long time were taking a hit. Free magazines, you probably remember the EPUBs and E-magazines that were, such the rage 5-7 years ago. Yeah, not so much now. Back to the printed page. People really like to have that. Get on the train, get things going. Now, how is that advice really going to help you? Since it's the same thing I've been saying for so long, my first question is, have you heeded that advice? Okay, that'd be the first thing I'd ask, because the people I've been talking to either say, one, I never thought of it. 2, I'm too afraid because I read these articles that say that it's really hard to break into. Or 3, I got rejected and my feelings hurt, so I'm not going to try it again. It's like, it kind of goes back to the first thing I said. Wah, wah, wah. Okay? Get over it. Move forward. If you want your business to move forward, it can only happen if you take the reins and push it forward. So the editorial marketplace, what does that have to offer you? Understand that in the beginning, it has not a whole lot of economic gain for you. If that is your main incentive to get rich quick, don't quit your day job. Seriously. Because photography is not an instant win money-making affair. Now, I can only talk for myself and some of my peers who, when we get together and talk, the first thing we do is always congratulate ourselves for surviving another year. But we all understand that we wouldn't be here today if we hadn't made those steps way back when. For myself personally, start off in a camera store, like so many photographers do. And I worked there for a number of years. And then through my photography, because it wasn't through my, congealy, touchy-feely attitude sometimes, I was able to get the attention of some of the right people. And those folks, first of all, grabbed me by the collar and said, you got to do this, that, and the other. I wish they'd said everything I needed to do, but that's the way life is, to move me forward. And they got me started in the right direction. One of the main ones was editorial. That's where I started meeting the other people who I needed to know. Those photo editors, the photo buyers, the ones who are masters at this thing at visual communicating, visual storytelling, better photography. And through them, I started learning how to see better through the viewfinder, how to capture better through that lens, and how to tell that story with exposure. I would love to say I was a genius and figured it all out myself really fast, but that'd be a blatant lie. There are lots of pit holes. So PhotoBiz 21, the next thing is you have to be ready for those pitfalls. And if 2020 didn't teach that lesson well enough, you might have some issues in 2021. You have to keep pushing because there's going to be peaks and valleys. Now, what else can you do besides the editorial marketplace? Let's say you want to make money in photography. Again, don't quit your day job. It takes time to get that foundation going. A number of people said, hey, they're starting to open up our county or our city, and they're going to start letting some street fairs begin again with social distancing and other things like that. Is that a good avenue to go into? If you have a whole lot of capital, in other words, money in the bank in savings, and you think that you can take that savings and spend it knowing you're going to see very little return, then hell yeah, get in that street fair. Pay for that printing, whether you sit there and print yourself, which would be the best way, but then print for framing and matting, which even if you do yourself, you still have to pay for those materials. And there's your time. And then there's that space you have to rent and the walls you have to put up. And then the time you have to sit there and spend selling to people. If you can do all those things and make money that then pays for your camera gear to go out shooting, then by all means, that's a good avenue to get things moving forward. As you might gather, it's not my favorite thing to recommend to people. In fact, I never do. I've never done it myself for a lot of reasons. The main one is all the capital that has to be spent just to start to make the presence to be there. Now, there's some folks out there who do really well by that genre, and all the more power to them. They put in the time. They know what it takes. But if you are trying to get things started or to keep that ball rolling, maybe 2021 is not the time to invest in that. What you might want to do if you're thinking about going that genre is go to your favorite coffee house. Look at their walls. If you think that coffee house would support a local artist like yourself, approach them with an actual finished print framed and volunteer to put your artwork on their wall for a limited time. Don't make it, open-ended. And then don't try to sell that for $25 or $80. Sell it at a gallery kind of price, knock off 20%, and then tell the manager that, hey, if people sit there and buy stuff, we can take some of this and we could do what? You get a discount on the print if you buy certain products from that realtor. You can put money into a charity. You put some sort of hook. So the person buying it feels good about doing it. The person who has the art on his wall, the retailer, feels good about it. And then you come out with it, something in that exchange. One of the main things you learn from that exchange is, do my photographs, are they really sellable? That's the next thing you need to think about for 2021. A lot of photographers, God bless you guys, but what you think is a great photograph and one that sells are often two different things. How do you learn that? It's the school of hard knocks. There's no book out there that says, if your photograph has this, this, and this, it's going to sell. It doesn't work that way. You have to find the right photograph and match it up with the right buyer for the right price at the right time to make that sale. And that combination, it takes time to learn those things. Now, if you're in the editorial marketplace, going to come back to that, you start learning when you have this group of words and you illustrate it with this group of photographs, the editor says, hey, let's run it next month. That's how it works. It's no different than putting that print on the wall. It's the same basic concepts coming from your knowledge. And that's maybe what you should really work on for your photo business in 2021 is as much as your photography skills, how about your knowledge skills of visual communicating, of perhaps pricing, marketing, audience, all those elements. Now, is this advice good for only wildlife photographers or aviation photographers? No, it works for everybody. I mean, you have to do this and that for different genres. There's little different twists and turns, but that's true for any business. But the one piece of advice I'm going to give you that I have been given forever, that Sharon and I learned from the School of Hard Knocks in the very first couple of years, is that negotiating for price. That's kind of the art of this whole thing. You have to understand the negotiation of price. And for so many of our clients, seriously, when it comes to pricing, we always say, well, what fits your budget? What fits their budget? Then from there, you have to sit there and decide if it works for you. But here's the benefits of, does it fit your budget question? First and foremost, you are now making that person buying your photograph feel special. Everybody loves feeling special. And when that happens, tends to be repeat business, which is a good thing. The next thing happens, you'd be surprised that a lot of times they think about what fits their budget, then they think about you, and then they actually are going to, quite a bit, offer you more money than you thought you were going to get. So then you come ahead. Not only do you get more money, but you have a happy client who has your product. I mean, it works really well. Doesn't work in every scenario. You don't want to go, for example, to your art fair and doing that. Come on in, let's bargain. You don't want to do that, but think about it. What fits your budget? You're telling that client you think they're special and you want them to keep coming back to you. That's a really good feeling to leave a client. So PhotoBiz 21, it's no different than PhotoBiz 1880. I guess I started back then. 1981 is when I started. It's no different than that. It's no different than 1985, 1991, 2001, or 2021. Our business strategy is still the same. starts and ends with that photograph. And then if you want to get it out there, it's up to you. You folks take care, don that mask, and make every click your story.